Hello and welcome to the We Are Careers show. It is your, as always, fortnightly bite-sized chunk of career development CPD, and sadly we are at the end of season finale. So very, very sad day for both Sabiha and I, but a very jam-packed show that we've got for you. We're going to go talk a little bit more about what's going to be kind of encompassed in that in a couple of minutes' time. But just as a quick introduction, if this is your first time coming across the show and you've never seen us before, my name is Chris Webb. I'm a higher education careers professional and member of CDI, registered career development professional, and I'm joined as always by the best of my partnership, my fantastic co-host, Sabiha. So Sabiha, how are you doing? And some random noises. These could be from my side or your side.
No, that's definitely me. Sorry. So welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. For those of you that are watching for the first time, welcome. Thank you, Chris, for such a warm welcome. Always appreciate how you kind of bring me in. If you can hear that in the background, it's because where I'm sitting right now, there is no way that I'm sitting in this space without the window open. And of course, the emergency service right on cue has to be driving past. So apologies for that, everybody. But you know what? Let's enjoy this sort of heat wave. I mean, honestly, what can I say? Are we all, where is everybody watching from right now? Use the comments feature and let me know, where are you watching from and what's the weather like where you are? I'm hearing people are talking about thunderstorms. So let me know, use the comments feature. And if you haven't already subscribed, particularly for those of you that are watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, or even if you're on in the Facebook community or you're watching us on LinkedIn, make sure that you subscribe to us, that you get the regular reminders, and that bell button on YouTube will make sure that you don't ever miss a show. For those of you that don't know me, I'm known as Meet Sabiha, and I work internationally helping young professionals to get unstuck and to get back into career flow without the stress. And I'm also the creator of the I Am Thriving Career Coaching Program, where I work with and teach international career coaches on how they can help their clients create even more powerful transformations without wasting resources and time on tools that don't work. Now, today we've got a little bit of an extra secret show, because you'll notice you're not seeing any guests, because Chris is about to reveal to you very shortly who our two mystery guests are. But before I come to that, we always like to take a moment, take a bit of a pause and celebrate and give our what we call the CDI shout out of the week. And this is an opportunity for us to celebrate our latest and newest members of the CDI Registered Career Development Practitioner Register. So I would encourage any of you that are watching live, or perhaps you're even watching this on the replay, I encourage you to join me right now and celebrate with a clapping emoji or a smile. And if you definitely see a name on the list that you recognize, because perhaps maybe it's your name or maybe it's your colleague's name, let them know. And so here we go. Chris is going to put on screen right now for us all the names, all the wonderful, amazing new professionals that have joined, the newest RCDP members of the CDI community. So a big congratulations and welcome. And if your name is popping up on screen right now, join in the conversation. Let us know when did you join the RCDP list? What area of specialism are you currently focused on? Join in that conversation. And so thank you for that, Chris. And so today's focus, we're going to be talking very much in detail about the UK CDI winners. And so, Chris, who are our mystery guests today, and what are we going to be talking to them about?
Yeah, thanks, Sabiha. So yeah, as kind of eagle-eyed Real Careers viewers amongst you might have realised, initially we had this episode set up as one based on SEND careers. Unfortunately, we kind of had to reschedule that, and we were thinking to ourselves, okay, what could we kind of pack into this end of season special to really make sure we can kind of still make it as valuable for members, but also kind of acknowledge some of the great stuff that's been happening recently in the careers community. And as Sabiha rightly notes, of course, over the past few weeks, we've had the UK Career Development Awards. So we thought, what better way to celebrate the end of our sixth season than bring together a couple of the award winners to talk a little bit about their experience and celebrate really the awards that they've just won. So first up, our mystery guest, can we get a drum roll, please, on your end, Sabiha? Wonderful. Up first here, we're going to pick from our two mystery guests. We have Kelly Spence. Kelly, welcome to the We Are Careers studio.
Thank you. Hello, thank you for having me from not so sunny Newcastle today.
Yeah, it's not quite as nice up here in Huddersfield either. It's a little bit grey, but I think people are probably quite happy about that.
Definitely.
Graduating today, looking quite hot in general kind of gowns and robes and everything. So Kelly, great to have you on the show. Tell us a little bit more. First of all, I suppose, congratulations, Careers Leader of the Year award at the recent UK CDA. How does it feel being an award winner?
Incredible. I still feel I'm a baby in the careers industry. I feel like I am fresh and new still, and to be able to achieve what we've achieved in such a short space of time, and to be recognized by such, a professional body as a CDI was just incredible. And it was lovely the way that, I know it had to be online this year, but getting everyone together, getting to meet new people that you've heard the names and you've seen the faces on social media, but getting to actually see the people and hear about their stories and all of the winners and where they've come from and what they've achieved was just, I'm lucky I had my camera off because it was quite an overwhelming day. If anyone could see, it was really, really just a privilege to be there and to see everybody.
That's great to hear, Kelly. And I guess for those of our viewers who maybe haven't kind of come across your work before, can you tell us a little bit more about what you're doing currently, and I guess what led to you receiving the award from the CDI?
Yeah, so I work for a company at the moment called the Outcomes First Group, and for those who don't know as yet, we are the UK's largest provider of special educational needs services for young people. We also have residential services and we have fostering services. So we look after some of the most vulnerable young people in society, but they are incredible young people. And it's lovely to see how much the working world is changing to be able to adapt so that these young people have the same opportunities to be able to thrive in society and to achieve everything that they're dreaming of achieving. So my work with the Outcomes First Group is 2 years old this September, so still quite new. When I started, I had 25 schools to oversee in terms of careers, and they had 8 careers leads in place. Roll forward 12 months and we have 50 plus secondary schools now. We have, I think, around 14 colleges, primary schools, thousands of young people in fostering services, and really, really proud that we now have a really fantastic careers lead in each of our schools who works really closely with me every day. We've just created our own online version of a careers program because some of our young people just can't access the external workplace at the moment. It's not suitable for them. So they're not missing out anymore. They're included, they're thriving, and it's been a labour of love for the last 12 months to get it where it is, and for us to be recognised as doing fantastic things in the SEND world, and giving these young people that opportunity. So when I spoke to David post awards, I have big plans in place for the next 12 months. So definitely not finished in terms of raising that awareness. My next big project, if there's anybody out there who has any ideas, is to make an SEND friendly version of a careers fair, because our young people really struggle in that high volume, bustling environment to meet providers and to speak to them when there's so much things going on around them. That's my next big project. If anybody would like to collaborate, we're going to set up our own.
Well, Kelly, I'm glad that you talked about that actually, because, as you said, it's so important that sort of kind of everyone has access, right, and to sort of kind of quality career service. And in fact, I just want to bring in some of the comments that are coming through in now as well. Okay, we're getting afternoon. Mandy Green is so excited that she's joining us live today. Welcome, Mandy. It's great to have you. We've got one Facebook user that's just welcoming new members, and then somebody else here again, another Facebook user has gone on to say, sounds like an amazing program, Kelly. Your passion for it shines through. So clearly you're resonating with the viewers today. If somebody is in that space right now where they perhaps maybe have, sort of kind of client service users who are SEN, what would be like your sort of kind of top number 1 or 2, 3 tips, sort of kind of quick wins, something that they can do that can make sure that their accessibility of the service is made easier for that client group? What would you say to that, Kelly?
I'd say definitely reach out. We have organisations, partnerships that we've made for companies who are doing apprenticeships specifically for young people with autism. There is some outstanding organisations out there. I use Ambitious About Autism a lot. They are fantastic in terms of reeling out those opportunities, work experience, apprenticeships. These companies that are very, very aware of the needs of our young people, and they are out there. It's difficult when you're wading through all of this information to find companies that are suitable, to utilize those resources of these people that are finding it out there. Anytime anyone wants to reach out to me, absolutely, we can share ideas and we can share resources. It's just adapting it to each young person. You're never going to get two young people who are the same, who have the same needs, you can approach in the same way. We use a lot of visual aids, so there is a great tool called Panjango, if anyone's heard of Panjango. It is our lifesaver in the company. Yeah, these cards are fantastic. Our young people love the section on the risk of being taken over by a robot. That is the absolute winner at the moment. They love to know if they're going to be replaced in the future. Apparently teachers are on that list, which is great. They all want to be taught by robots in the future. That's an absolute winner. And these resources are out there, and they're there because they are fantastic. And our young people really engage. We've got a lot of non-verbal young people who holding a conversation for a careers interview is difficult, but they'll happily lay the cards out and they'll pull out what they're interested in and they'll explore those ideas. So yeah, absolutely, utilize the resources that are out there, or as they reach out, because we have a database of resources we've created over the last year that I'm always happy to share.
Fantastic, Kelly. I mean, that sounds amazing. So if you're watching right now and you're listening and you're thinking, hang on a second, we could do with some of these services. Exactly. Chris put Kelly's details on. If you're part of our exclusive Facebook community, make sure you head on over there. In the resources document today, we'll be including that information, plus some of the stuff that Kelly has been sharing with us today. And of course, if you've got questions for our mystery guest number one, use the chat box feature. Let us know. You can comment on LinkedIn and the Facebook community. So Chris, are we ready to bring in mystery guest number two?
I think we are. Thank you, Kelly. I think you're going to be staying with us for a little bit, which is great. So yes, if you have any questions or join us for kind of a later section of the show. But yes, that brings us very nicely on to our second mystery guest. We are continuing with the UK Career Development Awards themes, and we're really, really pleased to have the Rodney Cox Lifetime Achievement Award winner here with us today, Jane Artest. Jane, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you very much for having me. It's quite a delight. It's really great to see you all again.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And again, same questions we put to Kelly, I guess, to start with. How does it feel being an award winner and being recognised, I suppose, for your lifetime's achievements within the career sector?
Wow, it's just amazing. My understanding of the award is that you don't get to enter it or nobody nominates you. It's entirely decided by the CDI board of directors. So I really have to thank the board of directors very much for this award. I was completely bowled over and amazed to be offered it. And I couldn't be more delighted and honoured and humbled by the whole thing, really. So thank you, CDI.
Oh, that's great to hear, Jane. And I guess for our sort of viewers who are watching, maybe are less familiar with kind of your work and your background, can you tell us a little bit about where your career's taken you up to now, and I guess a bit of an allusion to why that award's been given to you?
Okay. Well, do you know, I've been wondering ever since I got it why I was offered it. But anyway, because I'm sure there are lots of talented people out there. It's interesting. Kelly was mentioning she feels she's a baby in the careers world. Well, I suppose I'm the grandma in that case, if you're the baby, because I've been around for a very long time. And I've been so lucky. I've worked with the most talented, committed, fantastic, bright people that you could ever imagine. And I very much see the award as reflecting all those wonderful teams of people that I've worked with. And I've been lucky to have some great opportunities. My jobs have enabled me to be creative and innovative. And although there's been a lot of hard work over the years, it's been fun, all the way, really. It's interesting when you were asking me a question like that. I tend to think of my career as in three parts. Mm-hmm. I was in practice in schools and colleges at the beginning of my career. Then I moved into teaching in HE, where I was there for quite a number of years. And more recently, I've been in research. I used to love working in practice. The numbers of funny stories I could tell you about things kids have said and students over the years. I'm mindful that there's one particular funny story. When I was a baby careers advisor, I was about 22 years old and straight out of college, going into a whole class session in a school in Liverpool. My knees were knocking with trepidation because I hadn't done much of this before. And a little hand goes up at the back of the room. Hey, miss, when I grow up, I want to be an artist, miss. And in true DCG trained fashion, I said, oh, that's really interesting. And he said, yeah, miss, drawing a doll. And the whole class just erupted, including me. And I think that was my trial of fire, really. You know, if I hadn't laughed, I think I'd have lost the whole group. And so it went on, really. There were lots and lots of fun times working with kids in schools and colleges that I really look back on and cherish. I then moved into teaching in higher education, teaching careers advisors and careers teachers particularly, and I spent quite a long time in teacher education. We used to have to supervise the trainee careers advisors by visiting them in their work placements. And I remember one particularly terrifying moment when trying to find the careers office, I nearly drove my car off the top of Beachy Head. But anyway, my sort of navigation skills are legendary and all of that. So, but moving into research was probably the where I've sort of ended my career, although I don't like to think of it as being ended just yet. I'd started doing research when I was working in teaching in HE, but then I was lucky enough to be offered a job with HEXU as Director of Research. And I thought I'd died and gone to heaven when they told me the scale of the budget. It was brilliant, really. So thank you. And we invented at that stage the Future Track study, which is still remaining, I think, the longest study of student and graduate transition into the labour market. It's still going strong, I have to say, 17 years later. So we were very proud of Future Track. But we also developed some brilliant work with staff development work with career services, and we promoted practitioner research and so on. And it was a very sort of good time, I think, for building relationships nationally as well as within the immediate locale of one's job. The research work in particular led to quite a lot of international collaboration and a number of international projects and visits that I've been on. And I've been really lucky to have visited loads of places in Europe and North America. But one visit particularly stands out when I was in Japan. I was lucky enough to present our research work at a conference in Japan. And as the bus pulled out of the airport, taking us to the hotel, the baggage handlers stood on the pavement and bowed. And I didn't realize that people did that in Japan. I now know it's very common. But I was quite scared, thinking, has this bus got enough wheels? Is there something wrong? Is something going to happen? You know, it was quite a sort of scary moment, and there was nobody who could explain any of the practices to me at that moment. It was quite a bowling over moment, really. Did they know something I didn't? But certainly at home, the research work has gained a fair amount of political traction. And again, another sort of highlight of my career has been the opportunity to give evidence at various select committees and so on, and conferences. And I've even taken tea in the House of Lords. So I've had a great time, absolutely great time.
Fabulous.
Incredible reflections there, Jane. I mean, you've had me reminiscing. I used to work in Japan, so I was just you took me back there. But I mean, fantastic. We've had comments kind of coming through of a similar vein. Really interesting to hear your career journey, Jane. Loving the thought of you being a baby careers advisor once. That's me at the moment, Facebook user. Sorry, we can't see exactly who you are. Inspiring to hear where baby steps can lead. Yeah, I'd certainly reflect that. I remember kind of, and I still very much feel like a newbie in the careers world, but thinking back to when I did my kind of PG dip, like how things have changed since then. It is, small steps taking you a long way, and certainly, Jane, with your career, that's kind of been the case. I appreciate we're coming to the end of this section, so I just wanted to just ask you very quickly, Jane, Things that you're kind of currently working on. I know you mentioned you're still kind of involved with NICEC, and if people can get in touch with you, is there a good place for them to get in contact should they want to find out a bit more about you?
Yeah, I think you've got my email, haven't you? And are you publishing that? I'm not sure. I think you maybe are, but recently did a bit of work. I'm still a visiting fellow with ISEGS in Derby, and I recently did a bit of research work with them in the SEND area, but it wasn't specifically to do with careers work. But I'm heavily involved with NICEC, and if I could urge your viewers to have a look at the NICEC website. There's some great stuff development on there. We have some fabulous events.
And I would concur with what Jane is saying. And in fact, if you're a registered member or you're a member of the CDI as well, as part of our sort of kind of membership, we get access to the journals as well that NICEC produce as well. So just an added bonus of being a member. So if you're here today and perhaps you're joining us for the first time, or maybe you're watching and you're kind of maybe in between thinking about whether or not to become a member or not become a member, well, this is just one of the benefits. You get to meet amazing guests that we have today, such as Kelly and Jay. Somebody's just popped in on the feed again. Oh yeah, there we go. Thank you, Chris, for putting up that information of how people can get involved and become a member. I know I will be slated if I don't ask this question, Jane, because already as you can see the comments being asked, because I know what my inbox will blow up and say, why didn't you ask this? And the question is this, Jane, obviously somebody who would be seen by many as a role model, because we get a lot of viewers who are students, but in addition to being students, we also have a lot of viewers that watch this show that are career transitioning, like they're in the sector or they're coming new into the sector, and they're trying to map out their own career. And so is there any tips, Jane, that you have for somebody who is either starting out, sort of, who is, sort of kind of at that early phases, or maybe has been in the sector for a while now and is looking for something a little bit different? Because I know you talk about your career in 3 different phases and 3 different stages. So what tips, what advice would you have for someone?
Where to begin? I think I've been lucky by having lots of opportunities that I've just been able to seize. So my first tip would be, if anything looks like an opportunity to do something, go for it, would be the first thing I would say, whatever it is, and particularly if it's a little bit outside your comfort zone. I've always been inclined to sort of, put my hand up and say I'll do it all through my life, really. And it's got me into all kinds of scrapes, but it's also got me into all sorts of really good places, I think. And the other thing I would say is don't beat yourself up, really, if things don't go as well as planned. Thinking about today caused me to reflect on my career quite a bit. And one of the things that I felt was, looking back, there have been things I could have done better. But really, that's with the hindsight of now and the experience of now. And so, don't beat yourself up, get yourself in there, have a go, and you'll find that there are so many talented and able and wonderfully committed people, Kelly being clearly one of those today, and you guys, it's going to work out well. You'll enjoy it. That's it.
Love that. Great tips. So you're hearing it here for the first time. We've had 2 phenomenal guests. What a great way to sort of kind of bring and wrap up this season. But we've not finished yet, because we also have somebody else that's going to be joining us very shortly as well. So Chris, is it time? Are we ready? And thank you everybody for those in the comments. And if we didn't get to your comments, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We appreciate our guests today, both Kelly and Jane, for joining us today as well on this sort of kind of final show of this season. Chris, are we ready to go? Are we ready to introduce?
We are, yes. We've been plugging it away, so he's a less than secret guest because we've been talking about it on social media. But here he is, CDI Chief Executive David Morgan, with an update, a digital update for us. So David, welcome. Welcome in. I'm going to move things around so that you're slightly more prominent on screen, if that's okay.
I mean, we've got it all going on today. I don't think we've had this many guests, Chris, ever before. I mean, this is definitely testing our technological capabilities today.
Windows getting smaller and smaller by the minute. David, welcome very much. Well, thank you very much, I should say, for joining us. And I believe you're going to give us a bit of a sneak preview of the new digital transformation strategy that's happening within the CDI.
Yeah, just a quick update. I think you are going to need a bigger studio, by the way. But,
I know. Yeah, we'll put the request in.
yeah, we'll check the budget. Yeah, thanks for letting me come on. It's great to have the opportunity just to share a little bit about the digital transformation. So we've talked about it a little bit in the past. We've been planning it, but we are now going ahead with the first big phase, which is the replacement of our website and our member management platform. So really pleased about that. It's going to be a huge focus for us through to the end of March. It's the biggest investment I think that the CDI has made, and we're doing it because it fits in with the 2025 strategy, a greater focus on digital. Sorry, I was distracted by Sabiha peering around the logo.
I know. I'm sorry. You know.
Yeah, so it fits with our strategy. We know the systems we've currently got don't do the job we want to do in the future. So what we're doing is replacing our website and the back-end system that supports it with our data. The benefits will be the big one is a big improvement in the user experience. So when you're accessing the website or accessing your CDI member benefits, it'll be far easier, far slicker, and that's one of the biggest things we wanted to do. Second one is it makes it much easier for us to enhance those services and develop new ones in future. And the third one is it makes us more efficient internally so that we can answer your queries more quickly, we can make sure we communicate more effectively with you and so on. So some really, really big benefits for it that we're really pleased about. We've been doing the planning work at the beginning part of this year, and we're now moving into the doing phase, so designing and building. That's, like I say, it's going to go through till, we want to launch by the end of March. That's the aim. We will make sure that's a well-managed launch, so sometimes some nervousness about changing over, but we'll make sure that you're aware, that will help with the migration, make that switch as smooth as possible. And we're really keen that members have a chance to be involved. So getting your feedback on the designs as we're creating it is really important. So we are looking for volunteers from the membership who could join a focus group or a user interview or something like that. Really keen to get people from across the sector, but also people who have a lot of digital experience and people who have very little, because we want to make sure it works for everyone. So if you're interested and you could spare the odd hour here and there, if you email Dan Hope at dan.hope@thecdi.net, which I'm sure can go to the resources, he's pulling together the bank. Yeah, so we're really looking forward to it, really excited, and looking forward to updating on progress as we go forward.
That's great. Thanks, David. I think we'll probably have you back for another update, perhaps kind of March time onwards, maybe next year. But that's really helpful. And yeah, I think if you are a CDI member already, you should have had in the email in the Chief Exec's update that information about how to get in touch with Dan if you're wanting to volunteer. I certainly have, just because I'm nosy. I want to find out how it's going. But as David said, any amounts of digital experience, please do kind of, come forward, offer your support if you can. That's great, David. We are rapidly, as always, running out of time.
Can I just throw in a quick question, because it's just come up, and basically, and it'll be David. I think we've got a minute to answer this, which is that will the CPD records migrate to? A viewer wants to know.
We won't lose anything. We won't lose anything. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because
thing is moving all the data with it. Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent, perfect. Thank you for that. Oh, David, and by the way, you're looking very tanned. I can see some...
really.
Loving it. So thank you, viewers. As Chris says, we are now at the end. We're going to head over to the final news from the CDI, as well as the greater news. So David, thank you so much for taking time out of we really appreciate it. And of course, obviously to Kelly and Jane as well. So today's CDI news comes courtesy of Claire Johnson, and she has shared with us some of the latest sort of up and coming webinars that are going to be made available. And there's several that she's kind of brought my attention to. And of course, as always, the links for this and the dates, all of these will be included in the show's resources document. So you've got looking at developing the talent pipeline for career development sector. That's going to take place in September on Thursday the 15th. We then have the getting the most out of supervision from a supervisee's perspective. Jane, talked a little bit about this when she was sharing her stories and her experiences in it. That will be taking place on Friday, the 16th of September. And then finally, on Thursday, the 29th of September, there will be developing supervision approaches and skills for supervisors. So that's my news roundup for today, courtesy of Claire. Thank you, Claire. And so, Chris, final news update from you? What have you got for us today?
Yeah, the big Wizard of Oz hairs is coming in, which is really quite scary, but here it is. So as Sabiha mentioned, all of the news, everything that we've talked about today, resources, ways to get in contact with our guests, all of that can be found via what we call our show resources document. So this is something that we attached within our Facebook community of practice. So if you are a CDI member and you've not yet joined this group, what are you waiting for? We'll flash it up on the screen here. That's the address. Again, as long as you've got your CDI membership number, you can join. It's a community now, I think, of over 1,200 members, and really, really active, really kind of highly engaged community of careers professionals supporting each other. So do join that if you haven't done already. And equally, if you're not a CDI member, but you're watching this thinking, this sounds like a really great kind of organization to be part of, please do check out not only kind of our section on the CDI website, but also kind of the membership section, and find out what else you can gain from being a member of the CDI as well. So I'm going to include all of the news that I've kind of compiled from the career sphere over the last couple of weeks. Some key ones to definitely keep a lookout for. There's been a great article that's been released on FE Week about T-levels 2 years on, feedback from students, providers, teaching staff. It's actually a lot of really positive stuff in there, which kind of, I think, gives quite a bit of optimism and hope for where T-levels might go. Still lots of issues at the moment, as we all know, about BTECs. What's the alternative provision going to be if students can't do T-levels? So I think that, there's still a lot to be worked out there, but some really positive initial feedback about T-levels, which I think a lot of people will be really pleased to hear about. The second news story is a great article from Ben Robertson, careers consultant at Leeds Beckett, about career planning equals career limiting. So it's a really nice kind of challenge to the idea of, can you plan your career, and looking at kind of the work of Brighton Pryor, chaos theory, all those sort of things. Lovely kind of practical thread that's come out on Twitter and LinkedIn. And finally, there's a great article that Janet College has shared from HR Magazine, all about the death of the CV, what young people's views are of the CV, and whether that will impact how employers use them going forward. So just a selection of some of the great news stories that we've got in the show resources document. Do check those out. But unfortunately, that has brought us to the end, not just of the episode, but in fact of Series 6 in total. So we just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's watched this series, all of our great guests, including Jane, Kelly and David, who've joined us today, and everyone who regularly engages on LinkedIn, Facebook and YouTube. We will be back. That is the good news. We're actually going to be back in September time. So Wednesday, the 7th of September is going to be the start of our season 7. So keep a lookout for that. We will be kind of promoting on social media. We'll be letting you know when that's coming up and sharing a show calendar in due course. But until then, thank you very much for joining us. Massive thank you to Sabiha, as always, for being a great co-host, and to everyone watching at home. Have a great summer, and we'll see you in September.